So here you're probably familiar with this is the web-based eNVD platform. And another thing to note is that this new feature is just available on the web. We're using this as a bit of a test to see how the feature is used in getting feedback from yourselves about whether it's intuitive and easy to use. And then we'll look at improvements and rolling it out across the platforms. Looking at opportunities to integrate with scan readers and introducing it to the mobile platform as well. As you can see, I've got a consignment here that's going out from my pick today. I have created this, and remembering that the easiest way to create these consignments is using a template. Um, if you have a look, you can notice that there's a new column here around NLIS movements. So we give you these tooltips to guide you through the process. And you can see that it's available here to start. And as a sender, I can add the devices to the consignment. The receivers, once you submit it, we have 7 days to be able to do that movement and add tags to it. So to add the tags, we just go to the options menu here. We have an option here to add the devices. And you're presented with 2 options. So you can either upload a file or add them manually. So depending on how you record keep with your devices, we give you 2 options. You can manually cut and paste from a third-party system into here, or if you have a file that you've got out of a reader, we'll accept most of the reader outputs, and we just look at the RFID or the NLIS ID that's in that output and ignore the rest. So for the example of what we're doing tonight, I'll just choose a file because that's the most easy and straightforward way. You just select the file from your computer. It'll see it come loaded up here and then push it through. And here it's just going and checking those devices that I've added against NLIS. So here you can see it's playing back some information. So what does this mean? In this first error, we can see that this is a bad read, and we've picked it up that the ID that's been attached is not quite right in the right format. So we can call that out to you. Second example here is an example of a device that you've added, but it's not actually on your pick as a sender. So it may have been that you've forgotten to transfer that animal onto your farm prior to moving it off. So here's a bit of a checkpoint for you to do that necessary transfer, get that all lined up before you then on move that livestock. Third example here is just an example of if you have multi-species on your farm, you may have read something or it's part of another session on the reader and it's come into the consignment. So we can call out that you're actually adding a device that's from a different species to what you've indicated on the eNVD. So it's important to note that these warnings and errors, they're just for your information as a sender. You can leave that on the consignment and that will go on to the receiver for review, but we do recommend that you try and resolve all of these errors before you then push it on, because that makes the process a little bit more seamless. So if I kind of push forward to the other part of the consignment, if I move myself to the receiver, you can see that. Sorry, I'll just pick the right profile here. You can see that here is me as the receiver of that consignment. I can see it as an incoming, and the little indicator here is telling me that the sender of this consignment has added the tags. And as a bit of visual kind of reference, you can see that the tags are ready, and it's a different kind of icon representation to say a consignment that hasn't had tags or isn't an outgoing for the same user. If I go and have a look, I can drill down and have a look at those tags. But there's a few things that we play back here to the user that are quite important to note. The first one is if you're interacting with eNVD using your LPA profile, which most people do, to be able to do the movement within eNVD, you need to have linked your NLIS ID to your profile and switch to that one to do the movement. That way we can guarantee that you are who you are. within NLIS, and you are authorized to do that movement. If you need some guidance around that, there's plenty of collateral that the comms teams has put together about how to link the accounts, and also anything to do with this processor as a source or a receiver. You will also note that we can still see the errors and the warnings, and we'll resolve those a little bit later. But you can't really edit anything here, and you can't move anything onto your pick yet because you're not in the right profile. So if I go back and switch myself to the right profile, you'll see how that changes with the access to the user. So here you can see it's indicated by your NLIS ID. You can see the same incoming consignment, and you have a different option here to complete the movement. So this is indicating to you that you have access to do it. You don't have the prompt to move your profile that's been removed. You still have the errors that are calling out to you, but in this case, we can actually do something about it. So if this is an invalid ID and you don't want it part of the consignment, you can delete that as a receiver. It'll just ask you to authorize that. And then we can also do the same. So if these are kind of legitimately not part and they've been removed from the consignment that you've received, you can then also delete these guys as well. So once I clean up the consignment so that we don't have any more errors, you can see we've got good news, no issues detected. The final step to actually represent the movement is to move it onto the pick. All you need to do that is just to move onto your pick, and then it's submitted. So that's all you need to do. At this moment, NLIS movement has been submitted. If I want to check the progress of that, I can have a look at this consignment again, go into the movement. You can see the movement is complete. And if you need some more details about that movement, you can see the serial number, the upload ID if you need to check in NLIS. And if you need to even go into NLIS, you can log in from there. Okay, so I think that's the end of the demonstration.